Shalom, when the self was by giving no praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem God Kadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and honors to you brothers doing the work of the Most High in truth and in sincerity. Yahweh's real name, of whom the world ignorantly calls God, Jehovah. Yahweh, his real name is Yahweh. Son's true name is Yahushai. And when we pray Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, meaning in, meaning that, and Sham, meaning names Yahweh, and the name of Yahushai. Real quick, just wanted to just touch on just some information that I've been hearing, because I've got some people that I know in Asia, and my cousin came back from Australia not too long ago, right? Actually in this now, it would have been a couple of weeks ago, but he finally was talking and stuff, and it was just like, yo, it's some of the Australians out there saying that basically the price rises were, quote, a bit of a problem, right? And speaking to someone else as well, basically residing in Korea, asked me, so what's going on? And basically they were telling me that things are getting expensive, quote, food and all, right? So because once again, as has been said by different both starting apostles, elders, Archeum, right, and some of these different commentators, right, us here in the West, right, America more so, right, are gonna feel the effects of this war a lot later on, right? And one of the things as well, just speaking to like I said, my cousin, and he was saying how people were basically just putting on a brave face. They didn't want to bring it up, right? Everyone wanting to just continue on as is, right? I just thought it was interesting to share, because once again we hear it, right? We hear that that's what the case is, but just to get that corroboration that yeah, actually no, it's bad, right, out there in these places, right? It's what do you call it? Yeah, you're basically gonna start seeing more and more, right, those things that are happening over there come here, right? Which, if you see everything that's going down, man, you can only draw the conclusion that the situation where what you call it that we're in, right? The elites, they've seen the opportunity, they've been like, look, man, let's make use of it. Let's make use of it, right, to bring this agenda, right, which is that MOTB. Because at the same time they're talking about that, what's the word I'm looking for? They're talking about that digital ID. They're talking about different rules and regulations that ultimately are all about the MOTB system, right? It's Revelation 6:6, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. See thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Right, I wanted to get this just from we understand that the word here is basically denarion, right? Which basically, if you come down here, it's from the parable of the laborers in the vineyard. It would seem that a denarius was then the ordinary pay for a day's wage, right? So basically, sustenance, and not even a lot, costing a whole day's penny, right? So I found it interesting that the person I was talking to in Korea was like, yeah, things are getting expensive, and I asked him to confirm. It's like, oh, what, since the war, right? And I was like, yeah, since the war, so very, very, very interesting times, and once again just corroborating that sentiment that thing price rises happen are being felt already in those parts of the world, right? Once again, Australia too, right? The quote once again was a bit of a problem, right? When we go and see, right? We go and see those things come over here, right? Because at the end of the day, these economies are all linked, right? So yeah, it's gonna be some interesting times to come. Let's see if we can grab some precepts, right? In fact, let me read this one, right? 2 Kings 6:24-29 says, and it came to pass after this that Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, gathered all his hosts and went up and besieged Samaria. And there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it, right? It says, until an ass's head was sold for 80 pieces of silver, and the fourth part of a cab of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver, right? I'm just gonna look real quick, right? Right, so let's bring this in here, right? So it says siege, right? A siege, right, to sit is a military blockade of a city or fortress with the intent of conquering by attrition, right? The attrition being the action or process of gradually reducing the strength or effectiveness of someone or something through sustained attack or pressure, or by a well prepared assault. Siege warfare is a form of constant low intensity conflict characterized by one party holding a strong static defensive position. The part this party is called a garrison. What was it? You know when you see it in a what do you call it? I'm trying to, because it when I saw it in the in the AI mode, right? It basically went, not AI mode, in the preview. It went straight to the point. Yeah, so all the way down here, right? So the siege occurs when an attacker enters a city or fortress that cannot be easily taken by a quick assault and which refuses to surrender. Sieges involve surrounding the target to block provisions of supplies and a reinforcement of or escape of troops. Right now, the reason why I wanted to get this is that point, right? To block provisions of supplies, right? And because of the way the world is, what we're effectively watching is a siege by proxy, if you will, right? Because if the ships and all of the different transport systems can't run to get the city to get food into a city, to get resources into a city, it is by in effect a siege, right? It's once again a siege by proxy, if you will. I'll frame it like that because once again, it's like, it's not like the food isn't there. The food is there. It just can't come to you, right? So it goes on to say, verse 2 Kings 6:26, and as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, Help, my lord, O king. And he said, If Yahweh do not help thee, whence shall I help thee? Out of the barn floor, or out of the winepress? Says, and the king said unto her, What aileth thee? And she answered, This woman said unto me, Give thy son, that we may eat him today, and we'll eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son and did eat him. And I said to her on the next day, Give thy son, that we may eat him. And she hath hid her son. Right, and this is where famine gets to. Right now, people think that this is far fetched. Right, which, even just saying that out loud now, I'm just like, is that why they're soft launching, the idea of, cannibalism by way of these steam fowls, right? Is that why they're soft launching it? Because this is what people are going to be getting into. The things that the Most High has coming for this place, man. We get Sirach. It says Sirach 39:28-29, right? It says there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of their destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hell, famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Right, and I'll jump straight into Sirach 40, verses 9 to 10, says death and bloodshed, strife and sword and calamities, famine, tribulation, and the scourge. These things are created for the wicked, and for their sakes came the flood. Right, and been bringing this one out a lot regularly, just because we are in, we're in this flesh. The thoughts may come like, oh, what's gonna happen, but it's just that reminder that these things ain't for us. These things ain't for us. These things are for those that the Most High, ain't happy with, if you want to, put it like that, So, yeah, man. Like I said, I just thought I'd wanna, not I thought I just wanted to share that because I found it quite interesting. Just getting that confirmation that things are getting expensive right now. To what degree, I'm not entirely sure, but it's there, right? So, as always, Lord's what I was edifying. Till next time, we say shalom.